1991 Moosehead Grand Prix. Jim Paulson will soon be joining us to bring you all the exciting action. But first, let's join Mr. Philip Olin, chairman of Moosehead Breweries, and three-time Indy 500 winner, Mr. Bobby Unser, for those famous words.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Hello, I'm Jim Paulson, and we are ready for the return of the American IndyCar Series to the streets of Halifax on this beautiful Citadel course in 1991. It's the second year, and the Moosehead Grand Prix #2 is about to get underway. Qualifying's complete. Young Robbie Unser is on the front row. He's got the pole position, and his thoughts on today's competition.
Of course, Jacques Villeneuve is going to be fast, and my cousin Johnny's going to be hard to beat. And then Bill Tempero, Petri, there's a few other guys that, you know, are going to probably be there at the end, and we're just going to kind of have to run our race and see what happens.
Right beside Robbie Unser is Canada's Jacques Villeneuve. He'd love a win and has got strategy laid out for today.
Either I'm going to try to get the jump right away at the start on Robbie and lead the race and probably try to set the pace I want to run. Or if Robbie gets the start on me, then I'll probably stay behind him and see how hard I have to run to stick with him, and then plan our fuel stop then after that.
On the second row, you'll find last year's winner, Mr. Bill Tempero. And Bill has some interesting thoughts on today's competition.
I haven't raced against Jacques for a few years. Jacques Villeneuve is very good. So I think, and in our series leader right now, Kevin Whiteside, that's the most competition I have right now.
Beside Bill Tempero is young Johnny Unser in from Sun Valley, Idaho with the Hemmelgarn team. And I'll tell you, John has noticed some interesting track improvements in the last year.
There's been some vast improvements on the track last year. It's a wider track. It's more open. It's got more opportunities for passing. And I think it's a better spectator track also.
Winding up behind that front four, we've got Jimmy Santos. He's here from San Mateo, California. Beside him is Ken Petri. And the local favorite running the Spirit of Nova Scotia, Bill MacArthur. They're cheering for him today. Beside him is Bill Hansen. Bill's here from Minneapolis. Next row, Tony Turco. Tony had a good qualifying run. Fred Whittier's beside him on that row. Then Richard DeLardo is ready to run today in Halifax. With him is Jason Smith running from Lincoln, Nebraska. Next row, Don Johnson. And with him is Rick Sutherland, who's here from Los Gatos, California. Kevin Whiteside, we thought would do better in qualifying. He's at the back row. Starting 16th is Dale Campfield. He's here from New York State. The field looking nice order. We'll be ready for a green right after this.
Many professional money managers offer RSPs, and all of them save taxes, but they don't always maximize long-term growth. Only one manager is Canada's 20-year RSP growth leader, Mackenzie Financial Corporation and the Industrial Group of Funds. So don't settle for second best. Ask your independent investment fund dealer or stockbroker about an Industrial Group of Funds RSP. At Mackenzie, we're looking both ways to manage your money.
Can your motor oils survive the punishment today's engines dish out? Circulating it twice as fast, working it twice as hard, breaking it down and causing it to lose its viscosity. That's why you need an oil with the additive that does more to help prevent viscosity breakdown. Castrol XLR, the oil engineered for today's car.
The rugged coastlines and historic fishing villages of Canada's ocean playground, Nova Scotia, provide tourists with a sea-flavored vacation destination with a great variety of things to do and see. The beauty of the province is equaled only by the warmth and special brand of hospitality of the people.
And in the midst of all this beauty, we're back at Citadel Hill Park in Halifax, Nova Scotia, ready for the start of the American IndyCar Championship, the Moosehead Grand Prix Round 2. Field come through looking in pretty good order. I'm Jim Paulson. John Graham joining us as they get a green flag, John. They're away and side by side into corner one. Well, I would say in corner one, actually, that Robbie Unser has grabbed the advantage. I'm amazed, actually, that Villeneuve let him get away with that, John.
Well, I think Jacques has to be very careful on the first lap. He's only done 3 laps in qualifying in these cars. He's probably just feeling Robbie out right now.
What was nice is the front three here were within a second of each other. And look at Jacques throwing that car around out there.
They shoot down Cogswell at about 180 miles an hour into a 30-mile-an-hour corner.
Now, are you amazed, John, that these two have already run away literally from Bill Tempero? Bill, sitting in third, is fairly well back at this point.
Well, I think Jacques got Robbie all psyched up, and I think he's pushing him real hard right now, hoping he'll make a mistake.
Robbie Unser, look at this. Now, Jacques kind of looks to the inside, thinks better of it. I get a feeling, though, that he's about to set up a pass situation here, John.
Well, Jacques coming down the inside, Jim.
Oh, he doesn't. You got it right, John. He decides in this corner, we're going to do it. Robbie decided not even to fight it, oh. He just gave it to him.
No, he left the door open there for him.
Okay, but Robbie's not going to let him run away. He kind of tucks in behind Jacques. Let's have a look at this one more time, John.
Yeah, if you look at the front right of Robbie's car, he's locking up the brakes. He's not trying to come into the lane. He lets Jacques have it.
Beautiful pass by Canada's Jacques Villeneuve. The Canada Post United Way entry today. And you can bet the crowd are on their feet now in Halifax. We've got the young Canadian in front. And look at this again. Jacques, even when he's leading, John, does not back off, throwing that car around here on our course.
He's pulled out about 12 car lengths now on Robbie Unser, and that's a bit of a surprise.
Screaming away into an amazing lead. Number 47, Jacques Villeneuve, running out of Quebec. Oh, no, and on fourth, too deep there, John, right into the concrete wall. What a shame. And, of course, the new race leader now is Robbie Unser. Second lap, and Jacques Villeneuve has crashed. Unbelievable.
Well, Robbie had pushed Jacques, I guess, a little too hard, and it looks like Jacques made a bit of a mistake, gone into the wall very hard, and that damage, I think it's over now, Jim.
Boy, look at this, though, John. He's trying to keep the car moving. Obviously, the yellow flags are out around the course. No, there's no way he could have brought that back to pit road, John.
No, he's finished for the day. It looks like Jacques was just a little bit too excited.
In the meantime, a pace car is already out there. Jacques is looking at the right front. He must have thought, as we have, that no, there's no point in even trying to carry on. Let's look at this one more time, John.
Well, the car's bouncing all over. Looks like he's really late on braking, and the front wheels stopped turning there on the inside where the track's gone away. He's just too late to brake. Nowhere to go but the wall.
Actually, maybe it's too bad, Johnny had carried the car that far into the corner. Would he have been any better off hitting the tires, or would the damage have been as bad?
Well, I think it's important to note Jacques been racing Formula Atlantic all year, and it's a lot lighter car. Probably used the same braking points that he would on the Atlantic car. This is a heavier car, the Indy car, and it was just too late.
Okay, we have the Jacques Villeneuve equipment. This is a March, Chevy powered, by the way, but boy, that doesn't matter now, John. It's up on the tow truck and not only off to the side, but literally back to Gasoline Alley. He's out of it, and there's a rather dejected Jacques Villeneuve now beginning to wend his way back to the garage area. Pace car, bring the field through in nice order. Let's go trackside and talk to Jacques Villeneuve.
When I hit the brake, it felt like the back end started to jump around, and I turned because the back end started to go around. I started to turn, the car went to the corner, and then suddenly it went straight into the wall. I think a steering link snapped, a steering toe link, whatever, what directs the wheel, because it went then straight into the wall, the right front corners. So I don't know if they're going to fix it or not, but the car was going well otherwise. You know, I was going away and not trying anything stupid, because I know it's a long race. You know, you want to do that in the first lap.
Well, Jacques Villeneuve out of it early in Halifax. We got a green flag. We're back to a race tempo, and Robbie Unser. This time it's the Lola Chevy, and he maintains the lead. And look at this action here with Santos getting by tempo.
Santos got down the inside, the same corner that Villeneuve got Robbie on earlier.
Now, we hadn't made note of this earlier, of course, but in the meantime, Jimmy Santos, who really had started back in 5th place very early in that first lap, managed to get by Johnny Unser, and now I think he's using this psychology that Jacques Villeneuve had made reference to. You don't want to hurry into this race. You got a long run to make. And now Jimmy Santos has settled very nicely into a nice firm second place here, back of Robbie Unser.
Well, also under the yellow flag there, Jim, the tires will have got a little cold, and it'll take a little while for the heat to come back in them.
Now, Bill Tempero, again, let's point out, Bill is the man who won here last year. Now, have there been enough changes in the course that it's thrown him off a little bit this year, John, or is he just being cautious maybe off the start?
Well, Bill's been around for a long time. He owns the AIS Series. He's the former champion. He knows there's 120 laps to go today, so I don't think he has to win the first few.
Well, I tell you, watching Jimmy Santos, this is Santos Racing out of San Mateo, California. There's one or two corners where Jimmy is really throwing it into the corner, and Robbie Unser just appears to be running so smoothly out front. Not as many bobbles out of the Unser car, it seems, John.
Well, Robbie's had his dad, Bobby Unser, here all week to help him set up the car. He's got a local sponsor in Sobeys, and I think he's out to impress both.
Yeah, there I think we noted it as well, just coming through that corner. The Santos car throwing away a little bit. Robbie Unser's holding in like a rock, and Bill Tempere looking pretty strong at this point as well. I guess you're right, John. Doesn't hurt to have Bob standing at trackside here to cheer young Robbie on. It gives Robbie, I think, a very special inspiration to run well this weekend.
We have a car in trouble, Jim. The yellow flag's out.
Okay, just the left side of your screen there, and hard for us to spot from this point. The rest of the field, though, are getting by safely, John, so no problem there. By the way, some interesting dice is going on a little further back in this American IndyCar Championship race. Our Moosehead Grand Prix, but our race leaders are moving nicely, and they'll gain a few feet, I would think, before they really have to back off for the yellow, John, but now they begin to do that.
Robbie's starting to slow the field down now. You can see a full course yellow.
Oh, no, Johnny Unser. He finished second here last year, started fourth today. He's done, and 91 pace car is out. Well, while we have a break, let's go to Debbie and catch up on some of the earlier race action.
Thanks, Jim. And here are some of the highlights from the other races at this year's Moosehead Grand Prix. First up is the Maritime Stock Car Association, also known as MASCAR, making its return to the Moosehead Grand Prix. Local hero Terry Clattenburg took advantage of his road racing background to put his Chevy Lumina on the pole. And for most drivers, this was their first time ever to compete on a road circuit this year. This 25-lap event saw lots of action with Halifax's own Greg Sewart in car number 99 crossing the finish line first. Sewart took advantage of numerous yellow flags to work his way to the front from his sixth-place starting position. He was followed by Scott Fraser, who had some earlier trouble under the caution flag. Third place went to Mike McKenzie of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. And Terry Clattenburg managed to bring home his ill-handling car in a solid fourth place. Next up, the Formula 1600s who came to Halifax for their very first time. These lightweight open-wheel race cars also competed in a 25-lap event, and pole position was won by Jean Claremont of Ottawa, Ontario. Post racing was consistent throughout the field as all competitors qualified within 4 seconds of each other. Claremont led for all 25 laps, followed by Jacek Muka of Laval, Quebec. The regional endurance cars soon took to the track and competed in a 1-hour endurance race with a mandatory pit stop. This series actually had 3 classes of cars competing for the checkered flag. The overall victory went to car number 88, driven by Dave Smith, who led from start to finish. A special thanks also goes out to all the marshals who volunteered their time this weekend. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Debbie. Been a great race weekend at the Moosehead Grand Prix. Not great for this man. Young Johnny Unser's equipment being towed in along pit road. The pace car had the field under yellow, John.
Johnny's working with a new car, and they've been having a lot of teething problems. This looks like it's an electrical problem with that side pod coming off.
On number 18, Tony Turco with problems here as well. Here are the standings after 35 laps. Robbie Unser, the race leader, will be back.
Back in 1889, when Lennox began making fine china, people took time and pride in craftsmanship. Homes and hearth were lovingly decorated with handcrafted items that held their value for generations. This Lennox heritage continues in the Lennox Spice Village, a collection of 24 porcelain spice jars, each an old-fashioned house. Examine your first jar for 15 days with no obligation. Every house bears the world-famous Lennox trademark, and each is decorated and painted by hand. Call now to receive your first jar. Enjoy it for 15 days. If you like it, you'll pay $19.50. Other imported spice jars will follow about one every month at the same low price. Major credit cards accepted, satisfaction guaranteed. And you'll get this hardwood rack at no extra cost as part of your collection. Bring old-fashioned craftsmanship into your home. Call now, toll-free, to examine your first jar.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, rigorously tested fluids on Earth. It is today's Quaker State. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
On behalf of the Citadel Hill Foundation, we talked with Dan Mullally.
At the present time, with the support and the cooperation of the Halifax Citadel Foundation, major restoration work is underway that will restore the Citadel to to its appearance of the late 1800s. The Citadel itself is the most frequently visited National Historic Site in the country, and visitors to the fort are provided with a range of services that include an animation program depicting military life as portrayed by the 78th Highland Regiment. And perhaps the most popular in some senses is the panoramic view that is afforded both of the city and the harbor.
And we're back with the green flag waving of the Citadel back to race tempo in the Moosehead Grand Prix, and the man in front is young Robbie Unser, but it's not a runaway for Robbie at this point, John.
Jimmy Santos has got right up in behind him, and Tempero's letting them go at it a little bit, Jim.
In fact, we got a trio that are fighting it out in front here. Tempero has said, no, this time I got to hang on to these guys if I let them get away. But, you know, Robbie has looked so smooth in this course. His car doesn't seem to be affected as much by some of the corners and some of the... That's a beautiful angle there, by the way, John, the track-level camera, as we get back to Robbie Unser out of Lincoln, Nebraska, the Sobeys Speedway Lola Chevy, and with a great run here in our American IndyCar Championship in Canada.
Well, again, it goes back to the setup of the car, Jim. Robbie has his car raised a little higher than the others because the track is very bumpy.
Now, I noticed on the one straightaway there, John, you'll even note with Robbie, our race leader, a definite real bobbing back and forth. Would they be avoiding, say, perhaps a little, not a pothole? Certainly you can't have that in a racetrack, but there may be rougher areas that they are trying to skirt around.
That's definitely the case, and there are also two different styles of driving. Robbie seems to be a lot tighter, where Santos seems to let his car slide out a little bit more.
There's Bill Tempero. He's got number one because, of course, he is the reigning champion. And being the winner here last year, I would have thought he would have given it a little stronger charge to be in front at this point. But, boy, it's another story, I guess, that the young Lions are really coming on in this course.
Well, Bill's getting a lot of pressure now from Ken Petri. And again, Tempero is early in the race. He wants to sit back and let these guys push a little bit. Maybe their equipment will break.
Petri, a very colorful-looking car there just back of Tempero's green equipment. Number 95 is out of Parker, Colorado for precision glass blowing. And I often wonder if, in a lot of the cases, the guys aren't using, in some cases, their own companies, in fact, sponsoring their race effort.
Well, I'm sure that's the case. One of the things that's sort of interesting to note is that Petri's teammate this weekend was Jacques Villeneuve. And although Jacques went out in the race earlier, he brings a lot of experience to this type of racing. And I wonder if that hasn't helped Petri in his own setup this weekend.
Exactly. Now, we watched them bounce through the course one more time. Petri is certainly not letting Tempero get away. Now, it makes you wonder, too, it's still early enough in this event that he maybe doesn't want to make his move yet, and yet out front, Robbie Unser seems to be running away with it.
Well, Robbie's getting away from Santos, but again, Santos lets the car get a little wide on him there. That's going to cost him some time.
And Petri one more time is right up on Tempero. Tempero bobs back and forth once more. Cannot shake this young man, number 95, off, though. And look at the crowd are on their feet here. And now Petri makes his move on the straightaway.
He goes down the inside, the same place again that Villeneuve tried on Robbie Unser earlier in the race.
Maybe that's the corner that one should pass on. It's a tricky track here on the Citadel course. There's no question, John, but boy, Petri decided this is where I got to make the move. He did it on Tempero, did it successfully, and is that maybe the one spot, John, that might be the best area to make that move in?
Well, it's a 1.2-mile street race, Jim. There's a lot of concrete around here, and it's going to force the drivers to think before they do anything. That Rainey to Gottingen Street corner is very wide, and obviously it shows it's the place to pass today.
Nice straightaway here with Robbie Unser again, lengthening his lead in the Moosehead Grand Prix. Takes the corner smoothly. These cars seem to ride light. I'll assume they're a little lighter than, say, your regular full-size Indy car, John.
Well, they are a full Indy car, Jim. The chassis is the same as you'll see at the Indy 500, the Marches and Lolas. The biggest difference, possibly, is the car that Robbie's driving. It's a stock block Chevy. It has the same type of engine that you'll see in a NASCAR racer, except it's in an IndyCar racer. That's about the only difference. The other people, like Johnny Unser's car, that car ran at Indy earlier this year, so they're full Indy cars.
By the way, speaking of young Johnny Unser, he is out of the Moosehead Grand Prix, and I think Debbie is over with him now along pit road. Let's see what happened down there with Johnny.
We have an electrical problem in the car, and that's really all we know right now. The motor just quit running. Well, you know, it's discouraging. The Econo Color people really gave us a lot of support up here, and the car was running good, and you know, sometimes those things happen in these kind of race cars, and it's just unfortunate.
Boy, it doesn't matter which side of the Unser family you go to, John Graham. They have got true racing blood in there, and Johnny, again, a part of that whole family.
Well, Johnny's won a lot of hearts in Halifax. Last year he came up here, he finished second in the race, and on the last lap he tagged the wall. It cost him the race. This year he came back up with a new car, got involved with the Econocolor people. Spent a bit of time before the race doing a lot of PR, and unfortunately he got bit again, but I'm sure he'll be back with us next year.
Bill Tempero is now certainly back into it as far as the Moosehead Grand Prix is concerned. He's fought his way back past Ken Petri. Petri now sits back in 4th place. Tempero has decided, okay, guys, time for me to move. He's brought that #1 car now very strongly into 3rd place overall, John, and now dealing with some more back markers.
Yeah, he's coming up behind Kevin Whitesides, and as he goes by him on the outside, the cars will be getting lighter. They'll have used a lot more fuel now.
Okay, Petri gets by Whiteside safely as well. How much of a factor can that traffic be? It's a tight course here, John. They'll have to be careful, I would assume.
Well, anytime you're on a street course, Jim, you have to be careful. And here in Halifax, we have some streets that let them get by each other, and then there's some very narrow sections.
Got to be a challenge, too. 120 laps. How tiring can that be, John? Did they begin to worry about halfway through?
Well, the one advantage they have is it's not real hot today, but they'll shift about 40 times every lap. And remember, they're doing a lap every minute and 5 seconds.
You know, I may be wrong, but with Bill Tempero, #1, now by Ken Petri, number 95, I swear that this duo are now, in fact, catching up on Jimmy Santos. I may be wrong, but we saw them in that one segment of the track, John, where they appear to be a little closer on the front-running duo.
Well, I think they're gaining on him, but I think most importantly is that Petri is wheeling Tempero back in. Tempero's now coming up on Tony Turco, who's a back marker. That's going to give Petri the advantage.
Now, keep in mind, Turco had his problems earlier. There is, of course, the one compulsory pit stop in the race anyway, John, so all of them have got to make at least that one stop. But I think Turco's got a little more problems than just having made his required stop there.
Well, Bill's got by him now. Can Petri get by him? No.
Oh, interesting. He thought better, but going through that corner, and that is where he would have liked to make the pass. Now he's safely by Turco and takes up the fight with Tempero one more time. But Bill Tempero looking very strong here in this #1 entry. The Purple Passion, he calls it, with the Valvoline sponsorship. The March Chevy, and Petri, of course, has got a Chevy just back of him here as well.
Well, again, you know, Tempero's been around with the series since it started 5 years ago, and he knows what he has to do to get through 120 laps here today.
I don't know if we'll have a chance to lay this one on Tempero a little later. We may do it on the podium, in fact, but has he had thoughts of retirement? Like Bobby Unser, we're just looking at Bobby there. I see Johnny has joined him. Oh, and there's Jim O'Donnell, a very dear friend of ours, of course, and one of our key sponsors. Jim has got to be smiling. John, his team in the Players GM Series came away with a big championship earlier today.
Well, Rob Fellows went out. All he had to do was finish in the top 5, and he brought his car home and won the championship for Mackenzie, and we'd like to congratulate him on that.
Now, we may have another car with a problem here, John. Robbie Unser gets by safely.
Well, Robbie's got to be careful. He's again coming up on some back markers. That's Bill Hansen, and Bill's not watching as he gets through the kink.
Oh, boy, yeah. Bill comes in, hangs onto his line. In fairness, I guess he can do that. But I don't think he's using his mirrors at all. Robbie, very careful, then decides, okay, this is the moment I can do it. He gets by safely.
I wouldn't want to be standing beside Robbie's dad at that point.
Indeed. Robbie Unser, he must have dreams of moving on. I wonder what his dreams are, John. Is it going to be the kart Indy Champ cars? Oh, here's an incident on the course.
Well, this is Bill MacArthur. Now, Bill's a local businessman here in Halifax, and you got to hand it to him. He came together last year, worked at the race, decided he wanted to get back into driving. He has some Formula Ford background, and he's really done a good job. This is his 2nd year in, so I'm sure we'll see Bill back out in the course today.
Bill finding this a real learning experience, I'm sure. He's from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Oh, there he is again, John. Off on one of the escape roads. Oh, the workers are in there, though. They're going to try to get him back into this one. He's not surrendering yet.
It just looks as if he went down the escape road. The car looks clean. I'm sure he'll be back out today.
Look out, folks. The spirit of Nova Scotia is still alive and well as we continue to watch this fight for 3rd overall, and it's a good one with Bill Tempero on top of it over Ken Petri in 95 at this point. In fact, they're coming up on more back markers here, John. Rick Sutherland out of Los Gatos, California, kind of holding him up a little bit there.
Well, again, that's going to help Petri. Petri will be able to get in a little closer. Now they're going to get through a tight section of the racetrack, and then they'll get out onto Bell Road where it gets real wide and see if Petri tries to pass him.
Boy, Petri is not letting him get away at all. What if he's learning anything off Tempero? Tempero seems very confident in running this course today.
Well, I'm sure he can learn a lot from Bill. The other thing is that I wonder how much time Bill's having to spend looking in those rearview mirrors, checking to see where Petri is. Bill's now getting to stretch a little bit more as he gets on Duraney Drive and down into Gottingen Street.
Okay, this is the big corner where we've seen quite a bit of our race action today. And again, look at this. Petri comes up on Tempero one more time. He is not going to let him get away. I don't think they can really take advantage of a draft as such, though, on these street circuits, can they, John?
No, it's too tight a circuit. They don't get a high enough speed. Petri looks as if he's going to go down the inside.
Oh, look at this. Yeah, he leans into it, breaks a little later than Tempero, but no. Tempero beats him again through the corner.
Bill's going to close the door. Bill might even leave it open and just see if he's foolish enough to try to come in under him there.
Petri again in the fight with Tempero, but again, maybe the back markers could be a factor here, and they are screaming up on more of them as they continue this fight for third overall in our Moosehead Grand Prix for the second time on the streets of Halifax. And this crowd love it again today, John.
Here goes Petri down the inside, Jim.
He's got him. Oh, look at this. Locks it up, spins the car around. Well, it's a 180. Tempero comes through. I don't think he touched the wall, John, so no damage to the car, but can he get it back lined up properly? Let's look at it again.
It looks like he just has too much speed into the corner. Bill sits back and says, you can have it.
Boy, it's almost like if we could see Bill's eyes, I wonder if he didn't know that this was about to happen.
Ken's now turned the car, but he still has the brakes on. There's no way the car's going to respond. He brings it around nicely, and he's very lucky to get away. Bill MacArthur goes under him. I think that's worth about a .8 at the Olympics.
I tell you, I think MacArthur was lucky actually to stay away from that whole thing. And let's face it, Ken Petri very lucky too, because there could have been some real damage involved in that one. 60 laps are down in this exciting Moosehead Grand Prix in Halifax. Robbie Unser, the race leader, Jimmy Santos in second. Nice fight between Tempero and Petri for third and fourth place. Then Kevin Whitesides and Phil Hansen. By the way, our race leader, Robbie, is catching up to that fight for third. Will he catch them?
Well, Robbie's got in behind Ken Petri, and Ken Petri's trying to get by our back markers, Bill MacArthur and Tony Turco.
Oh, look at this. Robbie dives to the inside. Petri, I don't think quite knows what to do about this. Now it's like a little chess game, of course, around the traffic here, and in fact, it is helping him to hold Robbie off. Great race action here in the midst of our Moosehead Grand Prix. We showed you some of the other race activity this weekend, but it's more than a race, it's an event. And Debbie earlier covered some of our festival atmosphere here.
Thanks, Jim. And when 50,000 people get together, it's always a festive atmosphere. Earlier today, I caught up with Harold McKay, chairman of the Moosehead Grand Prix, and asked how this year's event compares with last year's.
Last year, we said that we were going to have a race in Halifax because of the short period of time we had to put it together. This year, we promised the fans a spectator, an event, and that's what we have here. We have a real racing event, a real festival atmosphere here.
The Moosehead Grand Prix is recognized as Atlantic Canada's largest sporting festival, and it survives on its community spirit and strong volunteer base.
The people that call and support us on the event, the thousands of volunteers that we have all been fantastic. And Halifax wants international motorsport racing, and we intend on bringing it here.
And through its many volunteers, the Moosehead Grand Prix also strives to return the community spirit by working with local charities such as Ronald McDonald House and Big Brothers.
We're two Big Brothers Big Sisters volunteers that have decided to put together the beer tent for this occasion, and all profits and proceeds will go to Big Brothers Big Sisters. Mike and I worked together, and we decided we'd do something good for the community.
We canvassed all our office co-workers at Fleet School, Maritime Command, those guys from the ships. There's some new recruits just out of Cornwallis, so they're all Navy people. And they're all here to help, so in that sense, I guess they're all Big Brothers volunteers for the weekend.
Thank you, Debbie. So the festival fun continues, and now action along pit road, John.
Bill MacArthur leaving, and now there's Santos in, getting his mandatory fuel stop.
Okay, now they are required to make the one stop in this event, right, John, in the 120-lap run. So I think these are the regularly scheduled ones that they're going for now.
Well, not only are they required to, Jim, they'll need the fuel right now. That looks like you're taking a full tank on.
I'll say it took a little while. Santos gets it fired up, though, and moves away smoothly. Back into the battle one more time. Now, a man we're watching carefully today.
Your leader, Robbie Unser, is in. Robbie's little talk with the crew chief, putting in the full tank of methanol.
Crew check out those tires as well, and I don't know, they seem to be happy with his progress so far, John.
Well, it looks like he's looking over to see where Dad is, see if everything's going okay on his point.
Pit stops seem to be lengthy here, but the fact is they want to get them fully topped up on fuel, because from this point on, it's what the checkered flag is the next thing they have in mind, obviously, John.
Well, it looks like while the pit stops are going on, Petri's got back around Tempero. Now they should be in contention for the lead right now.
Okay, is this a fight for the lead? It is.
No, Robbie and Santos are out ahead of him. Whiteside, Petri, Tempero as they come down Trollop onto Rainy Boulevard.
A beautiful camera angle there, getting us back to what is happening. And now Tempero makes his move on Petri and decides, oh no, that's it, guys. I'm going back in front, and a familiar corner. It works for him.
Down the inside, he pushed Petri out a little wide.
Worked nicely. Now can Petri tuck in and hang on to Tempero? That'll be the question here one more time. So it seems even after the pit stops, John, the pattern of our race really hasn't changed that much.
Well, it hasn't changed, except right now Santos and Unser will have full tanks of fuel. Tempero and Petri will have a lighter car. They should be able to go a little quicker. The other thing that's notable now is that Whiteside seems to be back on pace. He seems to be able to run with those guys right now.
So interesting then how the whole complexion can change depending on how you spot those pit stops. This is maybe where more of the drama is going to settle in as to who our champion is going to be for the second year in Halifax, John. But Tempero looks very good, and he won it here last year.
Well, one of the things that's kind of surprising is that Unser and Santos would pit under green. You got to think that in a street course like this, you'd look for a yellow flag. Maybe that's what Tempero's doing right now. He's holding out, hoping that there's a yellow flag to come out.
Oh, look at this now. We have Robbie Unser screaming up. Yeah, well, and I think we spot a little bit of smoke there, but, well, I won't put him down as yet. We'll keep an eye on their progress, though. But Robbie Unser looks fine. He's very strong at this point.
Well, Robbie looks, again, as he said off the top, he's running his own race. Rick DeLardo's got a bit of smoke coming out of the Ultramar car as Santos looks to get down the inside of him.
Okay, Santos is going to work on the inside, and I thought that was smoke coming, and it would appear to be... No, look at that. It's disappeared this time. It depends which gear, I guess, he's in or which corner he's dealing with, John.
Yeah, you almost have to think it's a gearbox problem, the way it comes and goes like that.
Robbie Unser out of Lincoln, Nebraska. The Himmelgarn crowd, and looks good. Beautiful paint job on his 4X Sobe Speedway entry. And, of course, he's got Dad on the sidelines cheering him out here today. Robbie would love a victory in Canada, but that man in 21, Jimmy Santos, is just as hungry, believe me.
Well, Santos is closed up, and again, Whitesides and Bill Tempero are on the same straightaway now, so the pit stops have forced everybody to get a little tighter together. Rick DeLardo's in the middle of them there. They all get around him. He's letting them have the track.
Bill Tempero, number 1, has not made that pit stop yet, nor has our series leader, Kevin Whitesides, here in number 48. I'll tell you, this race is becoming more interesting as to what the psychology is going to be, and Tempero is coming up on Whitesides very quickly. We'll be right back.
We got our family Christmas gift from Radio Shack, and all of us enjoy the Tandy 1000 RL computer. Thanks to simple prompts, we started using the RL's 24 built-in home organizing solutions immediately. Our kids use its message bulletin board and personal diary. Bob updates our family budget, and I enjoy the cookbook and meal planner. It's streamlined our everyday activities to give us more leisure time.
The Tandy 1000 RL, now only $6.99 at Radio Shack, Canada's value leader in electronics.
Oh, the crystal chandelier.
It's progress here that he is really being...
He's slowing down, Jim. He's going into the pit.
Oh, look at that. He did. He died. Oh, now talking about catching us off guard. We know he's had the one pit stop already. This is unscheduled, John.
There's something must be wrong. He's lifted his visor. He's come in very slow. The crew are not ready for him.
Now, we saw Bill Hansen's equipment sitting there along pit row. They got the lit off Hansen's car, but it's our race leader, Robbie Unser, we're a little more concerned about.
Santos is the upper. Look at Santos off the wall.
Oh, look at that. He just lost it for that one moment. But what a beautiful save. If nothing else, I got to give him the save, I think, on that one, John.
I'll tell you, look, again in slow motion. Turns into the corner properly, and the whole back end starts to come around.
Wow, just boots out on him. Look at this now as it goes into the wall. Fortunately, he catches it sort of flush on the face of the tire, and there's no damage to the car. That's amazing.
The thing that saved Santos there was that he never hesitated. He kept his foot into it, pulled it back out, and kept going.
And this number 21, Jimmy Santos, after that marvelous move, and with Robbie Unser in along pit row, is our new race leader. Santos is in front in the Moosehead Grand Prix, and there's Bobby Unser, a little concerned around that Robbie Unser pit.
Well, they got a real problem now. If you look, the car is jacked up. That's a gearbox problem. They're trying to engage the gears right now. He's got Johnny over, Bobby. I'd say it's over for him today.
Oh, look at that. Yep. When the pilot gets out of the equipment, you know that it's done. Bobby looking a little dejected. I'd note that he doesn't get any grease on his hands in 1991. Of course, what more can he do than the crew have already informed him as to the problem. Robbie looks a little upset about that.
You got to give it to Robbie. He came out, he blistered everybody today, had a great race, just not long enough.
Boy, and look at Bill Tempero go, number 1, and he is carving away at Kevin Whiteside's here and gets by as we glimpse down along pit row one more time as the conference now gets underway.
Well, there's Jimmy Santos. He loves it. He just keeps going right now. He's in first place.
Well, he won't care, this young man. Jimmy Santos Racing, it's his own effort, this March Chevy, and it is running beautifully. Despite the odd little incident that he's had, he has still got this car running right on the money, John.
Well, Jimmy seems to be very comfortable right now. He's got a great rhythm going, and remember, it's the rhythm that he's used to push Robbie Unser all day long.
Santos coming up on more of the back markers at this stage of the race. That's got to be his main concern. He wants to handle this passing procedure properly. In the meantime, I think Debbie has cornered Robbie Unser down along pit row. Let's go to Debbie.
Hi, Robbie. What happened out there?
Well, third gear broke on us, I think. It was quite a shame. The car was running really good. We had a nice lead, getting great gas mileage, and third gear let go. So, but we looked good until we went out anyway, and I'm proud of the team and real happy for the Sobeys people to be involved, and wish we could have won it for them up here, kind of in their hometown. But we'll come back next year and see what we can do.
No question. Bobby had a great run in today, showing the great talent that runs throughout this entire Unser family. We're going to see in here.
Oh, Tempero just got closed down by Whitesides there, going into corner 1 again.
Look at that. Kevin is not going to give this away easily. What can Tempero do about it? He decides to go to the inside. Then he tries the outside one more time. And Whitesides is not going to let him through here.
Well, again, Whitesides is coming on. We noted that earlier in the race. And now he's starting to get Bill down the inside again, and he gets closed off.
Well, when Kevin Whitesides in his car says, "Wake up to Missouri," I tell you, he's suddenly had Bill Tempero have to wake up here just to get by him, and now he does it successfully. So Tempero's through.
Well, Bill got through there. He got a little wave from Kevin and snuck on through down the inside.
Maybe Kevin was just having some fun there for a segment of a lap, John. Felt he was really racing there for a while with Mr. Tempero, I guess.
Well, one of the things you got to wonder about, Jim, going back to the Unsers in Villeneuve, who would have thought at the halfway point your front row would have been out of this race? 2 Unsers are gone and Jacques Villeneuve.
That is something, and last year's race winner, Bill Tempero, could well make it 2 in a row here in 1991, but let us not forget a young fellow by the name of Jimmy Santos, number 21. Looking good, and here, in fact, coming up to put a lap on Ken Petri.
Well, Santos is starting to show that maybe fatigue's getting to him. The car's going a little bit wider, a little bit wilder. He's not holding back. He is definitely pushing his car.
Watch Tempero just disappear again there at the start-finish line as he comes through and down to the corner. Yeah, Bill looks pretty smooth at this stage in this American IndyCar Championship. And look at this. Out of car is the man we were just raving about a moment ago.
Well, the track may be starting to take its course. Kevin Whiteside's out of the race. He's the championship leader, and Santos has got his hand up. Santos looks to be coming into the pits.
Oh, no, Whiteside's out, and you're right, John. Santos will dive into pit row.
Now, this will be his second pit stop of the day, so that looks like it's calculated, and Tempero takes the lead.
Bill Tempero is by. The number 1. March Chevy now grabs the lead. The fuel is in now for Jimmy Santos, number 21.
He stalled the car.
Look at this. A little squirt of water, a little extinguisher work in the back. I don't think a fire has broken out there, John. The crew, though, are going to have to come back out here and fire it up one more time.
Well, the one nice thing to see is that everybody knows their job. They're taking it easy. Get it started. There's not a panic.
That was really just a backfire as they attempted to get Jimmy Santos fired up here one more time. But in the meantime, Bill Tempero doesn't care. He's gaining more and more ground out on the track.
And Santos is back out on the circuit. He'll be going hard now.
Okay, we got Santos fired up one more time. And look at this. Actually, when he comes back onto the track, he's not that far away again from Ken Petri, number 95.
Well, it looks like he slipped back to third spot right now.
Okay, now Santos is going to have some work to do. Petri comes through, number 95, the precision glass blowing March Chevy, and Santos is not far away. Now, we'll assume that or hope that no damage was caused by the stall and, of course, the refiring. He appears to be running quite well here, John.
Well, also keep in mind, if Santos come in for fuel, that should mean that Petri and Tempero will have to come back in again.
So the drama continues here in our American IndyCar Championship run in Canada, and this is a very interesting series, most of which happens in the States, John.
Well, it's a new series. It's about 4 years old. As Santos gets around Petri, he's now moved himself back. Oh, look at Santos off the wall again.
Did we not see him make that move just a lap or two ago, John? And he seems to have it down to an art.
I think he's just signing his name on the side of the wall.
Oh, look at this. Yeah, the arms are waving here along pit row, and that is it for the day.
No, Bill MacArthur's in. He's getting fuel. It looks like he can't get it in gear. They're pushing him to get it in gear.
I thought maybe the drama had...
Oh, he's clicked it in gear.
Okay.
Bill MacArthur's got the Spirit of Nova Scotia back out onto the circuit.
Whoa, way to go, Bill. And that to a great round of applause, by the way. Oh, for a moment, we were diverted from the actual race activity out there with all the drama happening along pit road, John. And believe me, in any form of this type of IndyCar racing, you've got to watch the pits as carefully as this race action. And look at this. Whoa.
Well, those are teammates. That's Tempero and MacArthur's coming back in out of the pit stop. He lets the boss, Bill Tempero, get by him.
I would hope so. I was worried for a moment that Tempero had scared him a little bit. It looked like he was almost going to grab one of the race exit roads there, but the two of them have remained on the race. Now let's go back to some of the early pit activity here.
Now watch this. This is Jason Smith in the pits. Watch why you have to wear the safety equipment.
Whoa, when that engine does refire, John, that is literally an explosion that happens back there.
Well, that's probably blown a 150-pound guy back about 4 feet right now.
Dale Campfield signaling to Santos, number 21, to head on by. Campfield running a little further back in our field.
And here's Bill Tempero leaving the pits.
He and the hoses spray down the flow over, of course, from the fuel, make sure they're safe getting back into the race tempo. So Tempero has made his stop in the number 1 car, and this drama continues with Jimmy Santos continuing out front.
Well, I think Santos got the lap back from Tempero, and he now is the leader as he comes up on Tempero's teammate, Bill MacArthur, and gets around him.
Again, Bill MacArthur out of Halifax, Nova Scotia, and he's still got the locals cheering him on today, John, as they do that. And, in fact, our race leader, Jimmy Santos, comes down this straightaway.
Well, Santos comes down into corner 1, and again, he's getting near the end of the race, got his last bit of fuel, and he must be starting to wonder if it is his day.
You know, it's been a nice sunny, not hot, but a nice warm day, John, and yet the tires seem to be holding it well, and I wouldn't say the rubber buildup has been that heavy on the track, so the cars are still hanging in here rather nicely, despite the fact they're running rather light.
Well, 3/4 of the circuit is very smooth. It allows easy tire wear. You have that one part of the course right now that is real bumpy, and that's going to take a bit of a beating, but everybody's been able to play the right compounds today.
You know, as we watch our current race leader, I was trying to get a comment out of you, John, on the American IndyCar Championship. It's their second appearance in Canada, but it's a very active series in the States.
Well, it's a new series. It's 5 years old. It was started by Bill Tempere. And really the idea behind the series is to give drivers that want IndyCar experience the opportunity to do it at a far less budget than you need to go kart. And I think a lot of these guys will do very well when they finally get the kart because of experience received here in the AIS series.
Well, you know that for the young Unsers, that's obviously what they're aiming for, and that looks like our last lap signal, John.
Well, that's what it is. Jimmy Santos is coming up again. He's on a back marker, taking it very easy. He wants this win today.
Oh, a passing flag in fact there. They want Santos to get back here to the checkered as safely as possible. Is he going to make it? Of course, as we always say in racing, John, you never know until you get right onto that checkered flag.
Well, we come back on to Trollop, and this is where Jimmy keeps writing his name on the wall. We want to see if he's going to do it one more time.
This time he did it a little more smoothly. It's a little bobble. He takes another turn. Santos, number 21. Is he going to make it a victory in Canada today?
Our race winner and a happy crowd.
Whoa, that checkered flag waves, and look at the crew is going crazy along pit road. And Santos has got to be ecstatic in the car. He just hasn't had a chance to show it yet. And now here comes Tempere, last year's winner.
Well, Tempere again, he's been sitting back all afternoon. He needs the points for the championship, and he brings it home in second place.
Bill Tempere brings it back safely one more time against his newfound friends in Canada. Here are the results. Jimmy Santos, the winner. Tempere second. Third place, Ken Petri. Then Jason Smith in fourth. Phil MacArthur ends up fifth. Rich Sutherland in sixth. We'll be right back.
Can your motor oil take the
hit? For this sailing crowd just off the coast here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. But we had 50,000 people gathered on Citadel Hill for the American IndyCar Championship appearance in our Moosehead Grand Prix today. This crowd is still on their feet. They have been knocked out by our race winner today, this man, the pilot of number 21, Jimmy Santos, here all the way from San Mateo, California, in his March Chevrolet. He is the big winner today. And time to honor those winners at the podium.
Also to the podium, the President and Chief Operating Officer of Moosehead Breweries Limited, Derek Olin. The Chairman of the Moosehead Grand Prix, Harold McKay. And the President of Sobeys Incorporated, Doug Stewart. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the third place winner in the American IndyCar Series race this afternoon, the 1991 Moosehead Grand Prix, Ken Petri. Ladies and gentlemen, second place. The second place winner is Bill Tempere. And the presentation being made by Harold McKay, the chairman of the Moosehead Grand Prix. Second place, Bill Tempere. And the champion, first place, winner is Jimmy Santos. Jimmy Santos, out of San Mateo, California. Congratulations also to the crew chief, Matt Bringell. And the presentation is being made by Mr. Derek Olin, President and Chief Operating Officer of Moosehead Breweries Limited. Jimmy Santos, out of San Mateo, California. I believe this calls for champagne all around.
Indeed it does, for a very special first-time winner in our Moosehead Grand Prix here in 1991. And the crowd is excited as our competitors. This really was the Moosehead Grand Prix turning point. Let's go back to it, John.
Well, this is a big moment in the race, and I think it's a bad moment for Robbie Unser, a great moment for Jimmy Santos. Robbie came into the pits There's definitely a problem with the car. It turned out to be the gearbox that let go on him, and there was just no way you can fix it and get back out.
Robbie's dad, Bobby, is right in the thick of things here. Here's Robbie now out of the car. The helmet comes off. Up goes the balaclava. By about this point, as Bobby gives him that pat on the shoulder, you know it's over, John.
Well, it's over for Robbie, but not for our winner.
I felt really good. I had a good rhythm going, and I don't know. You know, when you get that confidence, I just felt unless something went wrong, I felt that the race would be mine. I think this place is great. I really do. It's my first time here in Halifax, and I think that the people are just so friendly and you know, outgoing, and they just treat you like, you know, family. I mean, they're really neighborly, and I really enjoy that. Everybody enjoys that. That's really a good feeling.
There they are, the final official results. Jimmy Santos, the race winner. Bill Tempere, second. Ken Petri ending up third. And our local in fifth place, Bill MacArthur. Boy, the spirit of Nova Scotia came through today, John.
Well, it was a great day for everybody, and we'd like to thank all the volunteers that helped put it together in the city of Halifax, and we look forward to next year.
I'm Jim Polson for John Graham and Debbie DeGraff. We have had a great time with the American IndyCar Championship in Halifax. Indeed, John, let's hope we do it again next year.
Hi, I'm Johnny Unser, and on behalf of the Moosehead Grand Prix, I'd like to remind you of the responsibility that comes with driving. Please don't drink and drive. Thank you.